Hi everyone, welcome into another episode of Matt Sports Talk, and in this video we are going to be recapping the Sweet 16 games, at least the first two. There are going to be two more played tonight that I will be recapping tomorrow, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. And then, of course, on Sunday I'll be recapping the Elite 8 games, at least from those cross-country schools that make the Elite 8, and one already has, so I'll be recording a video then going over that. I'm going to record an updated view of my bracket tomorrow as well. Same thing on Sunday after the Elite 8 rounds are completed. And then I'll be recording a video on Tuesday recapping if any cross-country schools advance to the Final Four, recapping those games, but also sharing with you my updated bracket. I'll definitely be doing at least the bracket update on Tuesday, and then my final bracket update on Wednesday if after the national championship game, if no cross-country schools advance to that national title game. And then in terms of my plans next Thursday or Friday, recording a video going over just the recap, kind of doing a season recap, so to speak, of the cross-country schools for both men and women. How well did they do this year? Who were some players that stood out? I'll definitely plan on doing that. And that episode, when I talk about that at the end of next week, that is officially going to be the last episode for Season 2 of Matt Sports Talk. So for those of you that have been subscribed to my channel and have watched this content all season long, thank you so much for joining. So I really appreciate that. And please keep on subscribing heading into Season 3 next year, so you do not miss out on any of this important information. Again, I'm super excited for next year's national tournament. Still going to do the same things next year for the national tournament as I did this year. So again, super excited to share that content with you next year. And then also on top of that, I have some very exciting things planned for next year, and something very exciting that I plan on doing to officially kick off Season 3 of Matt Sports Talk is in the month of October, or not October, but in the month of September, uploading coaches/player interviews that I hope to do. And should that happen, I'll be recording episodes, or not recording, but uploading episodes roughly every week over the month of September, officially kicking things off just on the women's side for the Crossroads Leagues. Again, super excited about doing that. Then in October, I will be making my final season predictions based on the teams that, and just in terms of the Crossroads League schools only, for both men and the women, where both men and women, where I think they will finish, all that good stuff. And that will be coming your way in early October, and then that officially will get us through until the start of the season toward the end of October for 2026/2027. So again, super excited about that as well. And then Crossroads League play starts, I believe, Wednesday, November 18th. I'm not 100% sure on that, but again, still going to record daily game recaps for both men and women's teams in the Crossroads League next year. Super excited about that. So that's just a little, so that those are some things that I plan on doing next year that I wanted to share ahead of time with you. So again, super excited about trying something new next year with the coaches/player interviews, and more than likely I'll be recording those on my laptop and then figuring out how to upload to my YouTube channel, which I did that, I believe, back in 2020. Again, I did some player interviews at that time, just a couple, and I figured out how to upload them to YouTube. And granted, that was on a Mac desktop computer, not a Mac laptop like what I have. So again, that'll be something new for me. So again, that's what I have planned for next year in terms of at least getting us into the start of Crossroads League play. So again, super excited about that. So recapping the first Crossroads League school last night in the first Sweet 16 matchup. Again, there'll be two more tonight. I'll be recording those episodes tomorrow, as well as giving you an updated video on my bracket heading into the Elite 8 round. So again, make sure that you stay tuned for that coming up. I hope to have it uploaded by this point tomorrow, but no later than 2 or 2:30 tomorrow afternoon for both those episodes. So again, make sure you stay tuned for that. So the first matchup the first matchup, you had 11 seed Hastings, 2-seeded St. Francis out of Indiana. St. Francis prevailing here after a very strong second half, 67-60. Hastings ends their year 24-8. So looking at stats for them, you had 15 points, McKenna Yates with 1 rebound, 3 assists, and 3 steals. 11 points for Mariah Avila with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals. 4 points for Bailey Kissinger, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. 5 points for Jocelyn Miller with 3 rebounds as well as a steal and a block. 13 points for Macy Bryant, 6 of 6 of a charity stripe. She had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. And then off the bench, you had Caitlin Bargan with 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. 10 points for Ann Boss, 5 of 6 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds for her and a steal. 2 points for Stella Heapy, 1 of 1 shooting in 6 minutes of action. And then you had Gentry Marks, did not score, but she had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. And then Addison Menarick did not score either, but she had 3 rebounds and 1 steal. And Hastings shot 31 from the field, 24 from deep, and decent at the free throw line, converting 12 out of 16 for 75. And then for St. Francis, Samaya Stout started. Only 2 points, both with a charity stripe, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks for her. You had 5 points for Isabella Gizzi, 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep. She had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. 17 points for Taylor Fordyce, 4 of 8 shooting, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. 8 of 10 at the charity stripe, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks for her. And Renna Schweiderman did not score either, or did not score, I should say, but she had 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Off the bench, Allison Shue, 3 points, 10 minutes of action, 1 of 2 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep, 2 rebounds for her. 3 points for Emma Royce, 1 of 3 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep with 4 rebounds. Julia Mantilla, 12 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 at the line, 4 rebounds, 1 steal for her. And the big one, really no surprise here, Callie Gregory, 25 points, 9 of 19 shooting, 4 of 10 from deep, a perfect 3 of 3 at the charity stripe. She had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block to go along with that. And St. Francis shot 42 from the field, 36 from 3, so not too terribly bad. And they were excellent at the free throw line, converting 15 out of 18 for 83. And that was your match up there. And then our final Sweet 16 matchup, but our final matchup of yesterday in terms of Crossroads Lake Schools in the Sweet 16, you had 10-seeded Indiana Wesleyan against 3-seeded Dakota State. Dakota State ranked 7th in the country, and Dakota State prevailing here after a very strong fourth quarter, 73-65, outscoring the Wildcats 24-18 in the fourth quarter. And Indiana Wesleyan ends their year 19-14, which ironically was the same exact record that they finished with in the 2016/17 season. And then the following season after that, in 17-18, the Lady Wildcats went 25-9, 15-3 in the Crossroads League. So again, does this team go 25-9 next year? I could see that. Honestly, I think they're going to be a lot better than 25-9. 15-3 in the conference next year, I think is very reasonable. And again, this is Lady Wildcats team that I just don't think has hit their full potential yet. Now, the good thing for the Wildcats was that over the last month, ever since the home Mount Vernon game on February 11th, this Lady Wildcats team went 6-3 in the last month of not just the end of the regular season, but also this postseason run. Now, again, that over the last month, that does include, some breaks in between. Of course, you had the break after the league tournament was over. You had like a week and a half break before the selection show for the national tournament. Then, of course, after that, you had another week before the national tournament began. So again, some of that time, might be a little bit skewed, but nonetheless, 6-3 between the end of the regular season and all the postseason combined. They're the only 3 losses. 2 of the 3 losses coming to Marion in the second to last game of the regular season, and then, of course, that semifinal game in the league tournament. And then, of course, the third loss coming yesterday to Dakota State. Again, excellent loss for the Wildcats. Now, the Wildcats, though, they really struggled at the charity stripe yesterday, and they missed 12 free throws, shot just 10 of 22 for 45%. So, again, that basically was your difference in the ball game. But not just that, but the Lady Wildcats, they committed 16 turnovers, or 15 turnovers, I stand corrected, and the Trojans of Dakota State scored 16 points off the 15 turnovers. So again, I guess you could say the free throws totally were not the reason why the Lady Wildcats did not win this game. It mainly was because of the turnovers. And again, that's going to happen. But still, what a run by this Lady Wildcats team this year. And, of course, making the national tournament, which a lot of people probably were not sure that if they were even going to make the national tournament. But, they did, and then some people probably said, well, they're probably not going to beat Cumberland's because of how good Cumberland's is with the Mid-South Conference. And then the Lady Wildcats did that last Friday night, which I was at that game. Super, super thankful I was able to go. And man, what a great win that was. And then the following night, watching from home, the Wildcats upsetting the 2-seed Rio Grande and number 8 in the country, and a team that only lost one game all year, and that was to Marion back in December. And people said it going into that game, they're like, man, some people probably thought there's just no way that this Lady Wildcats team is going to be able to beat Rio Grande. They did that. And of course, Emily Mattingly in that game, the just ended her junior year, 29 points that game, a career high. And yeah, she didn't score a lot of points yesterday, but she played some excellent defense. And you figure what she's done in this postseason. In fact, people said that there probably was not a chance that she was able to come back and play this year after being injured back on February 4th at home against Huntington. But, and people said, well, there's probably not a chance she does come back and play. And she did, by the grace of God, and she played excellent. And I mean excellent. In that game against Cumberland's, I think it was 10 points that game, had some big clutch 3-pointers at just the right time. And you figure that just in this national tournament run, she has played only on one healthy knee, which is just absolutely a miracle in and among itself. So again, what a run by this Lady Wildcats team. They're only going to get better. Ayla Krieger, Addie Hovey, 2-star freshmen. They're only going to get better next year. And honestly, the way this Lady Wildcats team played in terms of defense in this postseason run, which really all started in that quarterfinal win at Huntington in the league tournament, that really started this defensive momentum. And ever since then, the Lady Wildcats, they have just, they played lights out. I mean, I know they gave up 80 points to Rio Grande, but excluding that, ever since this postseason run in the league tournament, they have given up less than 70 points in all of the games except Rio Grande, obviously, when they gave up 80. But still, 3 out of your last 4 games in this postseason run, you give up less than 70 points. That is a recipe for success. And I believe that I know some people have already said that this Lady Wildcats team has the full potential to go all the way next year and compete for a national title. I think that's going to be the case. And I just think that as successful as this team was last year, going 34-3, being the NAIA national champion runners-up, and really 33-1 last year with everybody fully healthy. Could the team next year do that? Now, I don't know if next year's team is only going to lose 1 or 2 total games. I mean, obviously that's not impossible and would be a fabulous thing if that happened. But, you can go all the way with having, 4 or 5 total losses heading into the national tournament. We saw that with the Indiana Wesleyan women's volleyball team this year, having, I believe, 3, I think it might have been 4 losses, 4 or 5 losses, and they won the national championship. So, obviously for this Lady Wildcats basketball team, take what the volleyball team did, take a good lesson from that, because that you can win the national championship. You don't have to be 38-0. You don't have to be, 34-3 or 33-2. You don't have to be that. You can be, going in, you can be 24-5 going into the national tournament and go all the way. I mean, and win the national title. I mean, you can easily do that. So I think this Lady Wildcats team next year that is only going to get better, and I just think that they are going to go all the way and compete in a national title game. I just think that's going to happen. I've had a feeling that's going to happen. I said the same thing after the 23-24 season. And then 24-25, they competed for the national title in that title game. Unfortunately, fell short to Dordt. And I've said the same thing this year. Maybe I'll be correct again next year. Maybe I won't. But this is the Lady Wildcats team that is going to, I don't think anybody is going to want to play them next year, because this is a team that is going to be very, very hungry. There's a big senior class next year, just like there was last year, with losing essentially the starting 5 after last year. And next year, of course, you have a big senior class. You got Bria Garber, Emily Mattingly, Tori Thompson, Kylie Bettinger, and Corinne Grivey. You have, just a star senior class next year. And then, of course, class of 2028, again, it's not quite as big, but, a big graduating class nonetheless, with Haley Amy, Kennedy Fueling, if she doesn't take her 5th year of eligibility the following season. And then, of course, Ellie Kelleher. So, you have really these next 2 years, I think, are the best chances for these Lady Wildcats to win a national championship. I really, really do. And, of course, 2029, you'll have Sophia Schroeder, Ayla Krieger, Addie Hovey in that graduating class. So maybe even through 2029. I just think these next 3 years are the best chances for these Lady Wildcats team to win a national championship. More so next year than maybe more so the next 2 years as opposed to class of 2029. Again, we're not really sure how all that's going to play out in terms of getting players in a transfer portal for next year. But it's going to be very, very exciting nonetheless. So recapping the game for Dakota State, in case you're a Trojan fan, you might be wondering, well, how well did they do? Well, for Dakota State, you had Bria Wasmond with 21 points, 4 of 8 from deep, 6 of 13 shooting, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 1 steal. 3 points for Brooke Gunderson, 3 of 4 at the line with 2 rebounds and 2 steals. 15 points for Caitlin Dyer, 3 of 5 shooting, which is all from beyond the arc, 6 of 8 at a charity stripe. She had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 4 steals. 10 points for Tabor Teal, the star player for this Lady Trojan team. 10 points, 5 of 11 shooting, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Really, really good balanced numbers there. 7 points for Sierra Watkins, 2 of 4 shooting, 3 of 5 at the line with 7 rebounds and 1 block. 3 points for Mackenzie Simmons, 1 of 3 shooting, 1 of 2 from deep. She had 3 rebounds as well. 3 points for Medalla Hansen, 4 minutes of action, 1 of 1 shooting, 1 of 1 at the line with a rebound. You got 7 points for Hampton Hines, 3 of 5 shooting, 1 of 1 at the line with 2 assists. 4 points for Ella Karstensen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. 1 of 4 shooting, 2 of 6 of a line with 4 rebounds. And then Angela Chappell did not score, but she had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and a block. And the Trojans shot 44 from the field, 38 from threes, not too terribly bad. 21 out of 34 at the charity stripe, which is 61%. So they were better than the Wildcats, who were just 10 of 22 for 45.5. And the Wildcats shot really good from the field and from three, both at 43%. Now, typically when you shoot 43% from the field and from deep, you typically win games. Not the case. Obviously, the turnovers were the big difference. And how about the star player, Ayla Krieger, and just 7 minutes of action, I might add. So again, she did not play too terribly long, but she went off for 36 points, and I don't know if the minutes the minutes are accurate. So in just 7 minutes of action, 36 points, second, not quite her career high of 40 that she hit at home against Huntington February 4th in that tough double overtime 2-point loss. But she was only 4 points away from that, and she went over 500 points just in her freshman season. So, man, what a job this young stud, I shouldn't say stud, but which I apologize, but what a job by this star freshman player, that is for sure. 36 points, 10 rebounds, with a double-double. She was 14 of 29 shooting, 2 of 5 from deep, 6 of 7 at the line, 3 assists as well. You had only 1 point from Isla Browning, who got in foul trouble, which foul trouble was another big key in this game. That did not go the Wildcats' way. 6 rebounds, though, for Browning, so what a job by the other freshman in just 11 minutes of action. 1 assist as well for her. You had 10 points by Kylie Bettinger, 3 of 6 shooting, which was all from deep, 1 of 3 at the line with 1 rebound and 1 assist. You had 8 points for Addie Hovey with 3 of 6 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep, 1 of 2 at the line with 7 rebounds and 1 assist. And Jade Hovey did not score, but she had 3 assists though. And then off the bench, you had Haley Amy in just 8 minutes of action, did not score, but she had 2 rebounds. And she has played really, really well this year off the bench. And she is the leading scorer on this team this year that shot 59% from the field. So what a job by the young sophomore from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then you had 2 points for Tori Thompson with 2 assists. Corinne Grivey played 1 minute, did not score. She did pick up 2 quick fouls in that 1 minute of playing time and did not play the rest of the game, which again is understandable. And then you had 5 points for Emily Mattingly, struggled shooting at 2 of 7. Just 1 of 4 at the line. She had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals, though. So that was a bright spot for Mattingly, was her defense. So really, really good to see that out of her. And then Ellie Kelleher, 8 minutes of action, 1 of 1 shooting, which was from deep. And that was a huge three-pointer that she hit late in the fourth quarter. Now, the leading free throw shooter on the team, she struggled yesterday at just 0 of 4. She still ended up being the leading free throw shooter on this team at officially 78%. Heading into the offseason, she had 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 1 steal as well. So, and 3 points, which obviously were those 2 shots, and that was your match up there. And that concludes recapping the two Sweet 16 games for the Crossroads League. We have 2 more games to recap tomorrow, and my updated bracket after all the Sweet 16 rounds are completed. So again, make sure you stay tuned for that tomorrow. So looking at the updated standings, Indiana Wesleyan ends their year at 19-14. Of course, Huntington previously, I talked about them. They ended their year at 19-12. Taylor ended their year at 17-13. Bethel is playing in the NCCAA tournament. They'll be playing for the national title tomorrow night. They're 23-11. Spring Arbor is 24-7, heading into their game tonight against Campbellsville. St. Francis goes in the Elite Eight round 30-4, and Marion heads into their matchup tonight against Shawnee State at 31-2. So that is an updated view of that. So again, if you did enjoy this video, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly, and I truly appreciate any feedback that you may provide me. And real quick, I do want to mention that I did not. Well, I know on the men's side that Grace played today, and I know that I mentioned I was going to try and recap those games. Indiana Wesleyan played yesterday. They ended up losing by 6 points, 71-65. And Caden Bontrager ended up with 18 points, leading the way for the Wildcats yesterday. You got 15 points for Kevin Sakis, and really everybody else did not really score for the Wildcats outside of that. So that is a quick recap, so to speak, of that game, and I'm not going to recap any more of the men's games because the only other men's Cross League school that's in is Grace. So again, if you want, I'm not going to recap them. You know, I definitely want to just focus on the women's side of things and my women's bracket moving forward into these last few days of a national tournament. So if you are, and again, I'm not trying to, be biased or anything. I'm not trying to be unprofessional, but it was an honor being able to do the men's side of things this year. So there won't be any more men's episodes. However, you can keep up with what the Lancers of Grace College are doing. Of course, you can do an internet search and find out, links to their live stats from their game, which actually should be just about over, actually, at least for today. You can, of course, catch up. You can, of course, follow along with them as well. But I'm strictly going to devote to the women's side of things, at least moving forward for the rest of this season, of Season 2 of Matt Sports Talk. And then, of course, I won't be doing any more men's videos until we get into next season, when I'll be making my predictions on the men's side based on where the Crossroads League teams will finish there. That will be coming your way in October. So again, I hope that all my men's videos were super, super helpful to you this year, and I hope that my women's videos have been equally as helpful and or informative. And if they have been, please either like this video, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. I truly appreciate any feedback that you may provide me. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Have a great rest of your day. God bless, and I will see you tomorrow for more of Matt Sports Talk, all things national tournament. God bless.